Hey everyone, welcome to Coffee at ChemEng. So today I'm here with Dani Marais, who is on a MIPPS scholarship placement at Shoalhaven Water, right?
Yes.
Doing some really important work. So Dani, what are you working on?
Hello, and also for some context, MIPPS stands for Major Industrial Project Placement Scheme Scholarship, I think, and Gary's my advisor for that. So at the moment, I'm undergoing my thesis in an industrial project with Shoalhaven Water, which is focusing on optimising the disinfection efficiency at the Shoalhaven Heads wastewater treatment plant. And so yeah, I can kind of just walk you through how I've been doing that. So it kind of started with the literature review, obviously, and then I did a current evaluation of how the plant is working, how it's running, any faults, any things that we could optimise, basically. And from that, I kind of figured out that more contact time was needed after the second chlorination. I won't go into too much detail about how the disinfection system works, but basically at the moment there's a 3-second contact time, and in order to increase that, we've looked at multiple different ways to do that. We looked at pipe loops, serpentine channel, contact tank, or switching to UV.
Yep.
And at the moment we've run some CFD simulations, kind of optimising the geometry of this.
Yep.
And yeah, at the moment we're moving on to more procurement, quoting and commissioning steps.
Right, so the full works, right? Very engineering. And for those of you who might not know, so you had to pick up CAD, so you computer design, so 3D drawings, and also CFD, computational fluid dynamics, right? So using ANSYS. And we also have help from Gustavo, who was our, one of our guests from some weeks ago. So Gustavo is helping as well. And yeah, you've actually had to, how shall we say, cross a lot of technical barriers and picking up a lot of skills in order to solve one problem, but it's very application specific, right? And actually, you should probably tell people what we're looking at in the background.
So yeah, this background is basically my plant for the moment. Yep. So here is the tertiary filters, and here is our problem with the contact time.
Yeah. So this is an overhead view that you took.
Yeah. This is drone footage of the plant, pretty much.
Yeah, so Dani flew a drone above the plant.
And there is the pond that I'm planning on upgrading.
That's right, yeah. So we were just discussing about how you can have different kinds of walls, different configurations that you could put, and Dani's has been running and will continue running more complex simulations to try and figure out what kind of serpentine channels might be good, and overlaying that together with tracer data, right, as well as your resonance time distributions, yeah, and looking at things like your decays and trying to make sure the chlorine that you're introducing is actually doing its job.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. And you can't really tell, but this is actually, well, it's not a trivial effort, is it? How do you feel actually having to tackle this? Like, because you're halfway through, you're about 3-4 months in.
Yeah, now we're past halfway.
Yeah.
How do I feel? I feel a lot more adult after these 3 months. I never really had this much responsibility. Not that I'm making the decisions, I'm providing the recommendations to make the decisions.
You're doing all the groundwork that helps people decide, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just, obviously it's not something I've ever really done. So it feels good. I feel like an engineer.
Yeah, well, you are an engineer in training, Dani Marais. Okay, so on that note, right, so MIPPS, not easy to get in, right? And now you're finding it's actually maybe not that easy to get out either, right? Yeah, just because you get in doesn't mean you're finished, because you've worked really hard, and we're all really proud of how far you've come. You had a really successful case study as well. You had a really good presentation, interim, and now you're gearing towards actually raising POs and building, right? So very engineering. I don't think many people get to say that they've done that, right? Because I did MIPPS ages ago. My MIPPS was very, very different, but every project in itself, you only learn how much you choose to learn, I think. Yeah. So what would your advice be? Because I get asked a lot, well, yeah, quite a lot of the time by your first years, your second years, and some of the third years as well, increasingly. What does MIPPS mean? Like, how do you get in, right? So that's the kind of question. I'm going to ask you that. But What suggestion would you give to someone who would ask you such a question? So first year, second year, third year, thinking about, should I go for MIPPS? What am I going to get out of it? What was one thing you would like to tell them, if anything?
One thing I would like to tell them? Well, I would just say to go for it. I would recommend anyone to try out and do it, and it is achievable. And yeah, definitely great for getting your foot in the door in the industry life. And it's actually funny, I went on a site tour to Shoalhaven Water in first year.
Oh, you did?
And I remember thinking, this is so cool, I really want to work here. So I would also recommend go on many site tours, because it definitely helps you figure out where you want to be.
Yep. And we spent 2 days with you, me and Gustavo walking around, we call it 5 plants at least. Yeah, exactly. And you've got 14 wastewater treatment and 4 water treatment plants here, basically. So we've covered some of them. And that was really good. So how would you suggest they prepare themselves for MIPPS if they wanted to get in?
It's definitely, there's big focus on the interview.
Yep.
So I would recommend having had interview practice before. Maybe you don't need an internship before, but having practiced a professional interview definitely helped. I was very nervous, but you just got to remember to believe in yourself. Sorry, cheesy, but
no,
don't get too much in your head about it.
Yeah.
You got this.
Rock up to your best, and what happens, happens. All right, awesome. Well, Dani Marais, absolutely killing it, and we'll see these things get built. All right.
Yes, we will. Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. Okay, thanks. Bye.